Good morning. I'm kind of opened up to the book of John this morning, and it took me on a little bit of a pilgrimage back into the book of Job. I was reading in John 6, and Jesus feeds the 5,000 with just a little bit of bread and a few fish, and he leaves after he feeds this massive crowd because, he's being followed by all of these folks, man. And he leaves to the other side of the lake. He goes, I believe, over to Capernaum. And the crowds realized that he had gone and they went looking for him. So they go to the other side because they figure that's the only place he could have went. And it says they found him on the other side of the lake and asked, "Rabbi, when did you get here?" And Jesus replied, "I tell you the truth. You want to be with me because I fed you, not because you understood the miraculous signs." Jesus' signs were to authenticate why he was there, who he was, and who sent him. And how many times do we want what God can give us, but we don't get the one thing and have a desire for the one thing that God created us to want and to become, and that is his character. That triggered Jesus' words right there, triggered me to think about what Satan said to Job, about Job, to God, excuse me. Man, the book of Job is so important for you to realize that there's an entire world going on around us, being watched, we're being examined. This time on earth gives you one opportunity to live this life for yourself. You can just take this life and do what you want with it. Or as Jesus came to show us and to tell us, we can have eternal life if we will deny ourselves and take up our cross. If we'll give up this life for his sake, we can actually save it and live forever. The opposite is eternal torment. And you get to see some insight from the book of Job. And I really got it highlighted up because it blows my mind that I can just see continuity from one end of this book to the other. The Lord asked Satan in Job. God pointed this out to Satan. Have you noticed my servant Job? He's the finest man in all the earth. He's blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil. Did Jesus not say those same words about Nathanael when he seen him under the olive tree? He said, a true Israelite, a man of complete integrity. That's what God's looking for from us. Men and women who, when no one is looking, shows they fear God by staying away from evil and doing what is right. Because we know that is who God is. And he will be a rewarder of those who diligently seek after him, who pursue him because he is good and we want to be like him, not for what he can give us. Satan knows that mankind is selfish to the core and they only want what you can give them. But Jesus said, if you'll deny yourself and take up your cross and follow me, that'll be the only path out of here. Satan is right. Most men only love God for what God can give them. I can sit and listen to my prayers, my thankfulness to God for the things I have in my life, things that he has given, because those things truly do mean something to me. My family means something to me, work, being able to feed myself. But this miracle Jesus did for the 5,000 was a time for him to be able to teach us about, don't worry about what you're going to eat and what you're going to wear. That is not what's important. If God feeds the birds of the air, he's going to feed you. Jesus taught us how to walk by faith, be led by God, that we would be transformed into the likeness of God. simply by following him, getting on a path and staying on it. Satan's reply to the Lord is yes. In other words, yeah, Job, he's a good dude, but he has reasons to fear God. You have always put a wall of protection around him and his home and his property. You have made him prosper in everything he does. Look how rich he is. But reach out and take away everything he has, and he'll surely curse you to your face. Other words, Job only loves you for what you've given him. If he was born a poor man with nothing, who had suffered much throughout his life, he wouldn't praise you. That's what Satan's saying. So, the Lord allowed a righteous man to be tempted by Satan. The Lord allowed it. And many times the Lord allows it in our life. If we're not in rebellion and when we're in rebellion to God, Satan can do what he wants. But when we've placed ourselves, as Psalm 91 says, under the wings and the feathers of God's protection to hide us and to keep us, Satan has to get permission. So it's quite possible that you're being highlighted by God when things come your way. But even these things that come your way that seem so terrible and so bad, they were meant to further perfect Job. While Job was a man of integrity, you can read his words and his replies and realize his idea of who God was and what life was about was still a little skewed. It doesn't mean Job's theology was perfect. It was not. But we get a perfect insight into what goes on behind the scenes, the things we can't see, why we're on the planet. Of course, it doesn't seem fair that Job's family was killed and everything that he had was taken away. But Job was a man of complete integrity, but God didn't stop there. He furthered his education. He furthered his refining and his integrity. And God repaid Job. His suffering was later rewarded. There's a lot we can learn here. You know, are you a man who only loves God for what God can give you? And do you hate God when you do not get what you want, when life seems unfair, when people die around you, when you lose your job, when suffering is going on? Or can you see that God is perfecting something in the midst of the suffering, that there is eternal goodness coming out of this? You know, the second time Satan comes before him, he says, one day the members of the heavenly court came together to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser, Satan, came with them. Where have you come from? The Lord asked Satan. Satan answered the Lord, I've been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on. So there's watchers. There are those watching. Then the Lord asked Satan, have you noticed my servant Job? He points him out a second time. I'm sure Job's going, oh my God, just leave me out of this. He is the finest man in all the earth. He's blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil. He has maintained his integrity, even though you urged me to harm him without cause. Satan replied to the Lord, skin for skin, a man will give up everything he has to save his life. But reach out and take away his health, and he will surely curse you to your face. Right now, on a worldwide scale, we can see from the book of Revelation that there are bold judgments that are poured out on the earth that the Lord allows to test those who belong to the earth. So you see the same thing on a small scale in Job versus a very large scale now. Same scenario. Satan has been allowed to attack those who belong to the earth. Those who belong to the Lord have placed their faith in the Lord, who have hidden themselves under the wings of his protection. As we read Psalm 91, Psalm 23, we can gain insights in what it means to be a godly man. Who we see also in Revelation that those who are considered godly are those who do not fear death. who have maintained their testimony and overcome by the blood of the Lamb, and do not fear for death. Don't fear their life, you know. So right here we see that Satan knows that we'll do anything to save our life. We'll allow people to change the way our bodies work, our genetic code. We're willing to say God didn't make us perfect. We can refine it. We can make it a little better. We were created in the image of God, but that's not good enough. We're going to make things in our image. Satan's at work, and people are stammering to do whatever they can do to save their own life. And I can understand it to a degree. But luckily, I've come to know my Lord and come to know my Bible enough that I'm just going to have to trust the Lord and resist this thing that they're wanting to do to us, that they've done to many. I've watched many people that have come to me and said, you know, I don't want this thing, but I ain't willing to lose my job. They only want what God can give them. They only want the blessings. They only want the money. As Satan said, they'll do anything to save their own skin. Anything. But are we willing to love our life, not unto death, take up our cross, deny ourselves, and follow Jesus? I don't know. Kind of weird how these things pop in my mind, but maybe this will help someone know that you're not alone out there. You feel like you are. In your resistance to what's going on, not feeling like there's anybody else that's feeling this urging inside to not do it. Well, you ain't alone. There's folks everywhere. They're becoming fewer, no doubt. But I love you guys. Hope this helps a little bit. Have a good day.